Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Chesley McNeil, and welcome back to our show and our update on what's going on outside as far as the winter precipitation. Well, it's coming down, folks. You can see up here to the far northwest where things are starting to show up in the pink because our temperatures are starting to fall off a bit here. A wedge is starting to set up and making its way down toward the metro area as well. We've seen so far ice collecting on surfaces up here toward Clayton or toward Juneau, Mossy Creek as well, and Gainesville. But notice how it is spotty, so it's off and on as it continues to push further off to the north. As far as south now as well, almost into the city now. The northern parts of the perimeter are already starting to see a change over here. You see North Fulton County over toward Roswell, northern parts of Cobb County as well, over into Gwinnett County, just about all of Gwinnett County now seeing that freezing rain coming down. That will continue to push into DeKalb County, down into the city and further down to the south. And we have a lot of moisture in the south that's going to continue to slide further off to the north. You can see that back down toward Montgomery. That's going to continue to slide up to the north. And as it runs into this cool air, or cold air, I should say, that's where we're starting to see that changeover into freezing rain. And this will be with us, unfortunately, right on through the night into tomorrow morning. May become a little bit more scattered in nature, but we got a nice little moisture pool here coming. And so we're going to have a couple of hours here where we'll get that freezing rain. How far south will that cold air go? That's going to be the question, how that wedge sets up. You can see we're in the 20s over toward Clayton, 29 degrees, and Canton, 27 right now in Gainesville. But when you make your way down to the city, still above freezing in Atlanta at 35, 33 in Marietta. And again, we're expecting that cold air to continue to push further down to the south. And so we'll see if that temperature drops to 32 or even below, but we're expecting that to be the case. And you're probably thinking in your mind, well, we're at 27 degrees, for example, in Gainesville. Why isn't that coming down as snow? Why are we looking at rain freezing on contact? Well, you have to understand precipitation types, folks. We have warm air that's above our heads. And so as the precipitation leaves the cloud, it leaves the cloud as snow, but it's running into this warm air, so it changes over to liquid. Where we have warmer air all the way to the surface, it comes down as rain. But at the surface, if we're at 32 and it's warm aloft, that's where it comes down as rain. And because temperatures at the surface in some areas are below the freezing mark, it will freeze on contact. So that's what we're looking at when we talk about freezing rain. And so you get the roads nice and slick, which is what we're expecting to take place out there. If it was sleet, it'd be more collecting on the roads. This is going to be more glazed over. And so that becomes a little bit more like ice on the roads, folks, and on surfaces that are elevated, especially patios, porches, if they're wood, especially. Any elevated surface along the roads will freeze over first. And so we'll be looking out for that, not only while we have the precipitation coming down, but even after that, because colder air will begin to move in. Our ice storm warning will last until Monday morning. We're talking about significant accumulations of ice where we have these purple areas here. So from Georgia's Rome down through Atlanta over toward Athens and then over toward Augusta is where we're expecting to see a good amount of ice begin to pile up to about 1/4 of an inch, generally speaking, but there will be some spots that will climb a little higher than that. We're talking about amounts up to maybe 3/4 of an inch and maybe some isolated spots, especially up here to the far northeast where we could see an inch worth of ice. A little bit of ice does damage, okay? And so we're only talking about 1/10 of an inch of ice. We'd be looking at ice on trees and power lines especially. There'd be some slick spots, of course, on the sidewalks and some of the roads out there, and we have to be very careful trying to navigate around even if we're walking, right? But we are anticipating it to get up to 1/4 of an inch. So we're looking at a coating on the windshields and cars. Scraping your car would be necessary if you had to get out, but hopefully you're just going to stay inside and let things settle down. Dangerous bridges and tough to stop your car on some of the roads out there. That's how slick it would be. And of course, on the trees and the power lines would start to fail, meaning they would start to bend in to lean over, if not snap some of the limbs, or some of those trees starting to fail where they start to fall, and power lines as well. Got to also mention how trees could fall on power lines, which is already weighed down by some of that ice. And in the northeastern corridor, where we're expecting to see maybe even up to 1/2 an inch, maybe even higher, well, you're talking about widespread tree and power damage, roads completely impassable, no travel at all. When you talk about 1/2 an inch of ice on the roads out there and power lines, well, I mean, the powers could be out for days. All right, and this is where we're expecting that to take place. This is our forecast track model, and you can follow along with me with the time right there on top of the screen here. We're already starting to see that changeover, right? It's very spotty right now, but with that moisture continuing to slide further up to the north, we'll continue to see that on the steady side. I think between 1 o'clock and AM, this is AM, and 3 o'clock AM, we got steady rain coming down. It will be heavy at times. When I say rain, I mean freezing rain in these areas, all the way down into Peachtree City, possibly even further down to the south, depending on how far that cold air gets. And that continues to be the case. We'll start to see it slack off just a little bit by the time we get to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, as the sun begins to rise, but the damage already done in a lot of these spots, and still cold enough that as precipitation continues to slide further off to the north, we'll get that spotty shower activity. Now, we're expecting or anticipating that warming up just a little bit as some warmer air begins to move in. Now, if that's the case, obviously we're going to see more rain begin to push in as that front moves through our area, but I do think it's in the far northeast. I would even say southern Hall County, rather, northward. That cold air could hang on. That wedge that we talk about all the time could really hang on there. So as this moisture continues to move in, we could see more of that ice accumulating. But for much of us, it will be some warmer air moving in, and we'll get some very heavy rain that will come through. That's going to help us out a little bit to help wash a lot of the ice that forms away. And we'll see some light rain on the back end of this. So after about 2, 3 o'clock, we'll start to see it as light rain before it begins to taper off. Now that heavy rain comes through. There could be a couple of thunderstorms with this as well, especially once we talk about Thomaston down to the south. There could be some severe weather, meaning some gusty winds associated with a few of those thunderstorms that happen to form along this line. That pushes through. Now, the good news with that is that it's a quick mover. And so if we do see any tornadic activity, especially for the southern end of the state, you're talking about a brief spin up. That's about it. That moves through. We'll have the light rain as we head into the afternoon on Sunday. Sunday is a day where you don't want to go anywhere. You want to stay anchored down. Hopefully you still have power, and if not, you have your phone or a battery radio to let you know exactly what's going on. That passes through, and the precipitation will be gone, especially by the evening on Sunday. We'll be here at 7:30. We'll be looking at cloud cover, but the winds will really start to pick up on us a bit behind this front. We're talking about winds gusting up to about 30, 35 miles per hour. With the weight of the ice that's on those limbs and on those power lines, that wind comes along, that can bang those power lines together. Wind can push that together, and also knock those weak limbs over and can act as projectiles and kind of fly around. And so we could see even more damage as we head into our Sunday, late Sunday, going into Monday. In fact, Monday, guess what? Those skies will begin to clear out. We still have those winds around, and the temperatures will be on the cold side. So we're not going to see that temperature rise all that much above freezing. And if it does, it'll be brief. And so we'll start off with temperatures down into the teens. It's going to feel like the single digits out there because of the wind chill, what we call the wind chill. So anything that happens when that rain comes in and it's wet, what's going to happen is some flash freezing will start to take place. So we'll have some patchy spots on the roads. It's not going to be a good day to get out on Monday, even after the precipitation leaves, because it's going to be so cold. Now, the sun will rise, and that solar radiation will hit some spots, so it'll help to melt it off, but we're going to see those temperatures fall back down again. So anything that's left over will refreeze again. So we could see the impacts of this lasting all the way into Tuesday morning, certainly, where our temperatures will be down into the teens once again. And so we can see some refreezing taking place. And that's why we have our cold air advisory. All right, that's what this light color is. You see over toward Georgia's Rome, over to Athens, and all the way down into the central portion of the state. This will take effect on Monday morning. That's where we're expecting to see those very cold temperatures. And you look at wind chills anywhere between 0 and 15 degrees. That's the way it feels on your exposed skin. Again, with that wind whipping around and the temperatures as cold, that's why we have that cold advisory, and that's, again, going to lead to elongating those problems that we have or any of those impacts that will be out there. So that's something that we'll be watching out for. But certainly our temperatures on Monday will only climb to around 30 degrees, maybe 31. I think we'll stay at or below that freezing mark through the day, and really won't see that temperature warm up once again until we get into the afternoon on Tuesday. That's why I'm saying Tuesday morning could be another day where we have freezing spots or some black ice spots on the roads because of that refreezing. It'll fall a little bit and then it'll freeze once again as we get into the evening. So we're going to continue to monitor things for you pretty much all night long tonight. We'll have another update for you at the top of the hour. Keep it locked right here for the very latest.